Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Ciao Fede. Ciao
Hello,
Matteo.
guys.
We are not just we are not just two now. There's a guest.
Yes.
Matteo, how are you first of all? How's it going?
I'm good. I would like to go to the beach a little bit. We were talking about this before. I'm pretty tired. I need vacation, but everything is okay in this period with COVID. Being okay uh, is important.
It's fine enough. Yeah. Could you
Yeah,
please tell us a little bit more about who you are and more about your story?
yeah. I started as a developer when I was like my first probably website was when I was 8 or 10 years old. So like this is
Okay.
like as a passion I have since basically when I was very young. And after that, I started to study a little bit of everything in the development of website, portals, mobile apps, and
Uh-huh.
lot of different things. And yeah, as you know, mobile apps came out around 2008 in Italy. I started to study to the University of Rome, computer science and computer engineering, and I was one of the first developer that began to work on iOS. So began to make personal apps and distribute them on the App Store. And actually, it was pretty funny initially. That was a new word. No one knew about that. So I started to get a lot of newspaper and magazine contacting me, asking, to get to
Mm.
make interviews because they wanted to know more. And yeah, by the way, it has been very good. And when I got my degree, I moved to London and I continued my career or started my real career to be like full as a full-time employee. And in London, at some point, I joined Twitter, where I worked for 3 years. Actually,
Wow.
1 year in London, and after 1 year in London, I moved to San Francisco, where I worked another 2 years. In Twitter, I've been working on live videos, and we built all the live event infrastructure, and also I've been working on the ad formats. So yeah,
Mm.
like all the those team that team that follow all the uh, ads, monetization, ads format in the timeline, all that stuff.
Mm.
After 3 years at Twitter, I joined Google, and now I work on the Google Home app for Nest cameras. I decided to start another project, a personal project. And by the way, this
Mm.
project was approved by Twitter and by Google because, as you know, we cannot work on other project if we don't have approval from our company and there are no conflicts of interest.
After three
Sure.
years at Twitter, so at Google, you are now working on the Nest app.
App, yeah, I work on the Google Home app
Wow.
for Nest devices. So all the cameras and Nest app Max that also have a camera. All those camera interface, it's development in our team. So I
Wow.
work on that side, and then like in the meantime, I've been working on this new project that I started actually many years ago, but I never delivered it to the public. I just use it for myself.
Uh-huh.
But at some point, like my friends, my wife told me, "Hey, you should deliver this to everybody." Um, but I knew that was, it was a big thing delivered to everybody. But yeah, I decided to do it, and yeah, I will leave you for more question. But I work on this
Mm.
other project too, which
So
is called
the
IPTVX, which is on my shirt.
exactly that was yeah that you can see the brand on the t-shirt. I'm so happy and I'm personally excited having Matteo here for a very simple reason. I think Matteo embodies the perfect combination of skills and the kind of person that you wouldn't label as a traditional designer, but I do think has incredible skills and applies those creative skills in doing something extremely tangible as an app. It's a very successful app and it's on Apple TV. So kind of like even an unusual platform. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted Matteo to be here. We can
Mhm.
probably start maybe a spin-off with everything you've done at Twitter and Google. But it's not gonna be, let's say, the scope for today. Today we really want to talk about like IPTVX. So the first question I have about it, and to be completely transparent, I'm a user, so I know how the app works. But tell us a little bit more about what IPTVX is and how does it work and the evolution of the app.
So IPTVX is an app for Apple TV at the moment, but it will come also for other platform. I will tell you more later. It's an app that allows users to play their personal content. So to make an example, today you can use apps like Netflix or Hulu or all this Apple TV Plus to watch their content, and they offer a very fancy app with like a nice design, a lot of features, but you have to watch their content. Now let's say that you own, for example, 20 DVD, 20 Blu-ray, or you have your personal video. You like to take video of your family and watch it on your phone, but you don't have actually an app that allow you to watch this content as you do for when you watch Netflix or other big apps. Like with IPTVX, you can connect your content and use all the feature you also have in other big apps, like for example, favorites, continue watching, parental control, hidden channels, sync on multiple devices.
Wow.
There are many things. Like exactly what you find in in all the other apps, you can find in IPTVX. But IPTVX doesn't offer any content. It's just for your content.
When you were talking, I was really interested in this kind of concept where basically, if I get correct, you have your own space customized based on what you have to want to and have to. My question now is, how did you get the inspiration? I mean, is there some real story examples that you can share now, or it's
usually when all the apps I did in the past and I delivered to the public, and I did many. I did around like 18 or 19 personal apps like this. Usually they come from a needs I have. So for example, in that case, I wanted exactly to have something that, when I want to play my video or my DVD digital copies, I wanted to just start playing on the TV, stop and keep watching tomorrow, stuff like that. But every time instead I have to find the video and, I play and then find again the point where I was, all of this stuff. So I said, okay, let me find something that works well on the web, on the App Store or on the TV store. But I actually didn't find anything that really impressed me. There is some good app, I can say, but you have to pay them, and they weren't exactly what I wanted. So I say, okay, I'm gonna do it. I did something very simple initially. That was not meant to go in the App Store. I was I was just using that in my house. At some point, I can also tell you that I formatted my computer. I lost everything basically. I was just superficial in doing that project that I didn't start it anywhere not even in an online repository, such as GitHub or Bitbucket. So I lost everything, and that was a good thing, because when that happened, I started the project from scratch. And this time I started with the mind to publish it. So everything was well organized and well structured.
I love
so
it.
Start from the needs with like a playground. So let's see if I can do something. So then moving into reset, and then, okay, I have this goal, I have to succeed in that. Cool.
Exactly.
Well, when they say fail fast, that was definitely like a fail, at least a technology fail for you, but I guess it was a good fail because you built something even better on top of it, as you were telling us. I got a very, I don't know if it's a tricky question for you, but I mean, thank you for sharing like that failure that led to greatness actually. But in doing this whole app, in this process, this journey that has been like I guess a couple of years or so, what was the most difficult thing that you find out that you had to overcome? Anything that you will share with us?
This is a good question. So I'm alone, first of all. Like when you are alone in an app like this, and you have the ambition of getting many users using it, you basically are not just a developer. You're a developer, you're a customer service, and you are many other things. That means That like the most difficult part is to build new feature, at the same time plan, make my roadmap, and also fix bugs, and at the same time respond to the many users that ask me question or want their problem solved. And you can imagine how many they are, because currently the monthly active user that pass through the app are around 15,000.
Wow.
So that's
Congrats.
I can talk about that, but this is very difficult for me. You have a lot of users asking you for features and asking you, hey, I want the app on iOS, on iPhone and iPad. Hey, I want to have the app on Android. When it's gonna come out? Oh, sorry, I wanna get this feature. I wanna order the favorites this way. I want an APG. I want like all this stuff, and you get bombarded all day, and you have like the ability of extract what's the most wanted thing and start doing it, and at the same time engage the user, tell them you're working on this stuff. Maintaining all this is super hard when you are alone. So what I did was basically first of all, I didn't do any marketing for my app. So all the users I have been finding the app and talking by themselves with other people, and telling them, hey, there is this app. There is a reason why I didn't do marketing. It's because I'm not ready to handle the amount of users that could arrive when I start to do marketing. So I prefer to go slowly. Even going slowly is going pretty fast anyway. And wait the right time to do all the steps.
We've been discussing a lot about like what designers mean, and what we're seeing is that wearing multiple hats, especially, I mean, in this case you are alone, but even in the role of a designer is something that is beginning to be one of those rhetorical questions, like, oh, what should I be able of doing? And looks like, especially in a startup of one, there's so many things that you have to take care of. I personally was very, very amazed by the incredible skills that you showcase when you were putting together not only the technological part of the app, but even the layout, the look and feel. And I was like, wow, this dude is capable of putting things as a strategist, a designer, and a coder all together in one app. And that's something that's very unique. That's to me, it speaks to someone that can be like an exceptional modern designer, not even a designer, it's a creative mind at all.
Yes.
So that
you were alone, completely alone. So it was not like to saying, okay, I did some stuff and I did some stuff and I did related projects on different fields. No, you did that and you were alone too. So you had no support on someone. You just build your own.
There is another point that is I was thinking that was pretty difficult. That is the business model. Like when you start an app like this, you cannot start like asking subscription to everybody with the first version because no one will do it. So, but like what I stopped for a second and I started to think what would have been my process to arrive to something that can be supported with a subscription model. So initially the app was I ended up delivering the app initially with a single pay from the App Store. So you had to pay to download. And that started to bring, with a low price, that started to bring some money to go ahead with the development. And when the app became pretty good, I put it free, and I started to offer in-app purchases. So you could download free, test all the feature, but at some point the player will stop, and will not show you the image anymore. So after 1 minute or something, and you had to pay to one time to continue to watch. So that allowed the user to try the app, understand that the app was good, and so pay, and that increased a lot sales. After this, the app became also better, and I started to offer many features that the user asked me, but I put them under a subscription model. So every user that subscribe can use all the feature of the app and also all the new features that will come. So, for example, now there will be like iOS platforms, and so iPhone and iPad, and the subscription will cover. There will be a small upgrade, but with that subscription, you can basically cover also multi-platforms. Wow, so this was an important aspect that, to answer your previous question, Federico, was something that I had to be very careful, pay attention to how to approach this aspect.
I would like to add one thing to that. You're pretty much giving us an example of something that we've been touched upon the previous episode of the podcast. That is the importance of combining together this strategic aspect of, okay, what should I prioritize? I have so many features that I have to work on, right? I can imagine you have an infinite backlog. So what are the things that my user are asking for? But that together comes with the sort of the business model you're proposing, right? So there is a combination of understanding what the user wants, understanding how you can develop and roadmap the evolution of your app, and together how that influence the business model and the design of the app itself. Because if you think about that, they're all interconnected. And if you are only thinking about the designer, you only care about, oh, how can I highlight that feature? Maybe like it's like, okay, these are the new videos that came out. But you have to think about, okay, what am I offering to my users? Are they focusing on that one? And if I am releasing that feature, what is the best way for me to be successful in releasing that feature? It's this virtuous circle that we keep on saying, and that's the reason why we said a designer should not just think about creating the best experience of the user, but connect with the needs of the strategic side. So what's most important, and then how I can develop it quick enough. That actually is a good segue for the next question I had. That is, yes, it's a one-man band, but you have a lot of experience in working in big enterprises, right? Like Google and Twitter. So what is the difference between like you working at Iptvx as sort of like your dream project and on your dream work like at Google? What are the differences?
There is a big difference. When you write code in Twitter or in Google, you have to write 100% of, you need to write 100% clean code, 100% perfect and performant code. When you write code for yourself in something that needs to go very fast, you cannot offer 100% of quality. You need to reduce that quality to go faster and then improve the quality later. That's the only way to try to satisfy users and keep the users engagement and attract new users and launch your product. And when your product is profitable, then you start to improve the quality and increase the quality. So at Google or at Twitter, we have a process like a very strong process that when you push anything out, you need to care a lot about the single pixel the UX tell you to make that color, that size. Everything has to be perfect. The code has to be perfect and aligned with all the code base. You can imagine how big it is, the code base at Google or Twitter. So you have to respect the guide style, the style guide. You need to get other people approving your code before merging in the code base. You need to get tester testing your code, and you need to go deliver first in what we call team food or dog food, which are internal environment where we deliver the app before going to production. We have experimentation, so we don't deliver the feature to all the users at the same time, but probably 1%, 2% before looking that everything is okay, or that's actually a change that is good. Because sometimes you offer change to the user, but actually the user prefer the old version, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, you need to run experiment, what we call A/B test. So we used to do a lot of A/B tests at Twitter. You can imagine I used to work in that formats team, and in that formats team, when you create a new format or change a format, the first thing you have to do is to experiment if that format is making more or less money, because otherwise you want to switch back. So all of these things are, for a small thing that you need to implement, it takes a long time. With Iptvx, I think something this night, tomorrow I implement. Tomorrow night it's in production. Every user has it. But that's the difference. That's a startup. That's what a startup does.
So I have compared to this balance between speed and quality of improvements, right? Do you think that this experience in building Iptvx helped you in a way to switch mind to a perfect clean code, a very focused work, into a more playground approach? And how was your focus? Because can you work both on Twitter and Google or doing your daily job and at the same time deliver like a great project like IPTVX? I mean, I don't know about the stress. If it's that
It's
possible.
hard. It's hard. Ask to my wife. That's very
Right. No, but does it make
So-
sense, Federico? Or it's
Oh, it does.
That's a great question. That's a great question for anyone that want to start a project like this after a full-time job. Please consider that this will take all your day. So, well, like there have been weeks that I've been working on IPTVX for 60 hours after my 40-hour full-time job. So that means 100 hours per week working on code. The difference is again that when you work on the Google code base or on the Twitter code base, on any big code base, you need to really pay attention. So the stress is probably higher because you really have to do 10 times more research or investigation before saying, okay, I want to go with this. When you do something by yourself, that's easy. So the difference is that the stress goes down. So my 40 hours code the full time does not have the same stress that I have as an higher stress that compared to the stress I have when I build something by myself, personal apps. And so I can see that moment as a moment of work, but also relax when I work on my app. But I can say that there have been many days that I've been working until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and so that obviously gets you tired.
So it kind of speaks to the we got one of our episode, Matteo, I don't know if you listened to it, about like work-life balance, and we were discussing that sometimes when it's not the amount of time that you work, but it's kind of the happiness that you get outside of it. And I think you embody that perfectly. Like you were saying that, yes, sometimes I've been working till 3 a.m. But I was not stressed as I was doing IPTVX. It was giving me kind of joy. I've been reading a number of articles in when psychologists find out that even the most like genius mind, like even Einstein, they used to do what is called the slow multitasking. So when you are actually working not only on your thing, but you keep your mind switching between this and that in a way that is not too fast-paced. Actually, our brain goes better and we became more creative. So I believe that even this, to Raffaele's question, like this point of being able to moving from the micro IPTVX to the macro Google scale, right? Keep your brain, let's say, active. I can totally see as something that has been helping you be successful and probably even sharper during the day. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. Absolutely. When you do things like this, project that you start yourself and you see that it's going well and it's something that you did because you need that, and you see that many other people need it, and many other people send you messages telling you, hey, this app is amazing, thank you, like I didn't find anything like this, and you really find families contacting you, like fathers and also mothers, like anyone that contact you because they watch their content, they watch TV using that app. That's amazing. That make my day.
Nice.
Wow.
So what's the future of IPTVX?
Yeah, IPTVX, as you say, has a very long roadmap. So the future is that around September we will release, because I have another person now that is working as a contractor for IPTVX. We will deliver on iOS, so we will deliver on iPhone, iPad, and also on Mac, because as you heard from Apple, iOS app will run on Mac from this fall. So that's the first milestone. At the same time, in this month, I'm gonna release a new way to connect your data and your content to IPTVX, like for example, SMB protocol, which is a media sharing protocol that you can use on your PC or Mac or NAS, your server. I'm gonna probably connect also introduce new way to connect your content, like FTP, Dropbox, Box, iCloud Drive, all of this. So user will be able to, connect their content wherever this content is hosted. So those are the main two things. And
Nice.
then there will be more and more stuff.
It's amazing. Matteo, since you are a really rock star, right? Because you are.
Oh, thank you.
I
Yes.
have a question that is personally, egoistically for me, but I think it could be useful for everyone who's listening. That is, if you had just one suggestion to give to me, if I want to start my own project, but if I had one single project that I want to build, what is your first suggestion that you will give to me?
I always give the same suggestion: passion.
Passion.
So,
Wow.
Passion involves two things. First, the passion for this job. Like if you are a developer, if you are a designer, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to create, if you don't have passion for that, you cannot do it, because you will find a lot of problems along your way. And only if you have passion, you can go over that and keep rocking, right? Keep going. The second thing that passions involved is the passion for the product you are building. So if you have passion for that work, like I have passion for this work, right? I have passion for development, and I work at Google or at Twitter where I do something that I like. But when you do something for yourself and you start a project, you really have passion for that specific thing. Like I like my job, whatever I do that job, right? I also have passion for this product, like for Twitter, for this product. But when you do something yourself, you decide to create something from scratch, it's because you really think that thing is helpful. You have passion for that. Like you think that it's helpful for you, can be helpful for others. It's not just like if you think, oh, let me think something that I can make money with. That will not make.
That's
money.
not passion.
Like you won't find something that make money just because that might make money. You want to find something that you really need and people might need, because if you need it, there are other people that need it. If you have passion and like that, and you really care about that stuff, plus you have passion for the job, your skill and the work you do, obviously, you can go over any obstacles you find along your way.
For what I'm feeling, correct me if I'm making mistakes, but seems like your users at the end are your fuel. When you see messages from people that say, "Oh, Matteo, you just made my day," or whatever, it's like,
Yeah,
I'm doing right. That's amazing.
absolutely. Like the fuel, it
It's
comes
amazing.
from obviously the users, from the engagement, from the revenue, because the users subscribe are users that wanna pay to use your product. So it's at the end there are always users.
I think that what we will do, and I will invite you to share any of your favorite like contacts for our listeners to get in contact with you if that's okay. But we will share the link to Iptvx. We've now been starting our publication on Medium that is called design-ERS. So everything that for each episode that we'll be releasing, we'll have an article that will speak to that, and we'll add all the links and the resources that we're going to be discussing. So definitely we'll add the link to Iptvx there. You can go and search on the Apple TV. Before we lose you, because I know we are on a very busy schedule, we would like to ask you the last signature question that we put together. Based on your mindset and on your approach, what is your definition of design?
I probably don't have a strong answer, but in general, my definition of design is something that you can actually design. So it can be anything, right? There are many kinds of design. There are marketing design. There are posters. There are apps design. There are many kinds. It's a creative process, right? You need to apply your mind and your skills to create something new, and this can be done in every environment. Right? There's not an environment that don't need design. Even if you design like this computer or this monitor, you need to design.
I like that.
So it applies to everything. So it's hard to give you like a definition of design, but I guess I expressed what I had in mind.
And as we were saying to the people that are listening to us, we totally believe you are a designer. Like we believe we are, just because of the creative exercise you've been doing. And I think the very powerful thing in you, Matteo, is that through your words, you call yourself like a coder, like a developer, but you're not. Because if you were re-listening to everything you said today, you were not talking like you were like an engineer.
Yeah.
You were talking about creativity and user and thinking to putting things together and test, because that's what a designer does, or that's what a creative mind does. So, I mean, thanks for being with us today again.
There's one thing that I always go through. When you write code, people think that you just write code and logic, like if you are a backend developer, right? Yes, backend developer do that, but mobile developer like me need to basically convert the UX into UX for the app. So when the designer comes to you and say, "Oh, this is UX in the UI that I would like to implement," to get implemented, we basically have to write all the code and logic for the features, but also design programmatically all the single components that the designer implemented. So like mobile developers are engineers, software engineers, but also designer. But that we don't design with the pencil. We actually design writing code, and that sometimes is much harder. I can say. Obviously, the skill of the is to come out with something very creative, right? Probably I could not do the same. They know where to put stuff and how the user can look at that design, that UX. And talking specifically about apps, the designer offer you those skills, but then we need also to be able to design those stuff programmatically.
Absolutely. I would say you will now left with a big space in my head to think about that and to reflect, because it's really, because I'm a UX UI designer. I work with engineers and mobile app developers, and this new conception of design as a coder, if we can say that, it's really powerful. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Just make sure that it's clear what I say, that for the designer it's not hard to write a line and to write an image. What is hard for a designer is to apply their skill to come out with something that engage the user, attract the user, which is very, it's friendly. This is the skills that a designer and UX designer has. While a software engineer, for a software engineer, it's probably harder than using a pencil to design something, but obviously need the skills of the UX designer for the for the interface. So I want to just make clear, make sure that this is clear. That UX designers are needed, and I've been talking about this with some other people. One of my friends that work at Google, Google X. I don't know if you are familiar with Google X. It's an area of Google where we build new prototypes. And then we try, like, for example, the car you see going around on Mountain View, the automatic car. By the way, this guy, so it's a smart guy. He came to me and asked, it's one of my Italian friends, what do you think about UX designer, UI designer? Like, do you think that there is enough job? Do you think that they are needed, or they are always needed, or sometimes they are not? Because if you don't write software, obviously if you know the right code, you cannot have anything. But if you don't, so you need software engineer. But if you don't have a UX designer, you probably can still do something. So my answer to him was exactly what I just explained to you, that a UX designer is always needed, because they have in their creative mind some rules and approach that probably we don't see as very technical, and people, and I call science people. We cannot have probably the same kind of mind. We have it, but in relation to the code and the development, but not in relation to exactly to the design. I tried to do this by myself on Iptvx, because I have a lot of years of experience. I work with many designers, but I'm sure that with a designer, Iptvx could be better.
That makes total sense. Thank you for the candor.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. There are different mindset. Each one completes the other, and it's all about. It's a combination of designing for the coder and by also being able to code for the design. So it's never one or the other. The magic happens when both of those personalities collaborate. There can be one person or two people. You'll never know. It depends. That's a different thing. But the mindset has to be a combination of both. Matteo, that was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And yeah, I think at this point, Raffaele, that's the confirmation that our next episode will need to focus on what is the recipe of the modern designer. We'll be working on that. I'm super inspired.
We're working on that.
Thank you, Matteo.
Yeah. Matteo.
Thank you, guys.
Nice one.
If you want to get in touch with me, my Twitter account is Matteo_Gobbi. So my name _ my surname, and I guess you guys will put this in somewhere in the video. I'm happy to answer your question or.
Grazie.
Ciao.
Ciao.
See you guys. Bye bye.